of Sri Guru Stuti. But I beg your pardon, I would rather like to take the shloka number 4 first and then number 3, because we are in a beautiful path leading us to a spiritual practice, starting from the intellectual level, going inside deep into the heart. And the third stage happens to come in the 4th shloka. With that, one series of sadhana according to the Upanishad has been briefly expounded. Then this number 3 should come after 4, because it is something basic to all the sadhanas, any type of sadhana. So let us do shloka number 4 first, and then we'll go back to 3. Vyavritta jagradaadishu anusyutam ebhyo anyadiva pushpebhyayiva sutram iti yadaupadhika traya prithaktvena vidanti surayah tattvamapi tattvam. So far, as most of us are intellectuals, so we like to apply the razor edge of our sharp intellect and reasoning and logic to proceed towards that highest state, which is supposed to bring us that everlasting bliss. But then, all the scriptures say, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. The ultimate reality is one. You cannot go anywhere near it with either with your mind or your words. You cannot conceive of it. Whatever we have known, whatever you can imagine, it is something beyond it all. You could never even imagine, because even for imagination, you require some practical base. If you have seen one elephant, you can imagine an elephant with 20 heads. But you have never seen an elephant at all. The form of an elephant will never come to you, even in the wildest of your dreams. So the basis, even for the imagination, happens to be a factual sight. Otherwise, you can't conceive of it. So this is something which is beyond anybody's thinking. We call it atindriya. None of your senses, either the senses of perception or the senses of action, none of them can catch it. So neither your mind can conceive of it, even the wildest of imaginations, nor even if somebody has had a glimpse of it, it is not easy to express it. If we express it, there will be contradiction. And you won't be able to understand. Contradictions are a must when you are trying to explain the inexplicable, which is something which is beyond your vocabulary. So, we gave the 2 methods intellectually. First, in trying to negate the world and reduce the location or the locus of that ultimate reality, we have reduced it to the self. This is not the thing, this is not the thing, entire world we have eliminated, we came to the self. But again we found, when we came nearer to the self, we found it is again a very big forest. So we have to search for the self. And again they gave you another method called the Panchakosha Vivarana. That is how to get out of the 5 sheets of identification. They had identified the 5 fields where we are likely to get stuck up by thinking that that is the self. But then, it is very easy to give an analogy. You thresh the grain, the husk comes. Right. But you can't apply so easily in the Vedanta. What will you thresh? Where is the grain? Where is the husk? So the imagination alone would take you. The analogy is all right for to some extent to understand it. And then you are doing it intellectually. And within 2 days you will get it by heart. I am not Annamaya, I am not matter, because I will say it is my body, so I can't be the body. You will go on repeating it just like a boy who is doing his BA graduation or MA graduation. But where is the conviction? So you may repeat it like a parrot. It is all so easy. But then the conviction has to come from inside. You have to be convinced I am not the body. The other thing we were talking about somebody who was a very great devotee of Ramana. It's all right, but in his later days he was having a lot of physical problems with that one. So at that time, every portion of his body was having some problem, he was suffering so much. He said, oh, it is easy for him to say, I am not the body. I am telling you, I am the body. You touch here, this is the body. You touch here, I am feeling it. You touch here, I am all body only. See, you come to that. There is very much today, you see a lady, she is an engineer in California. She is an American lady. She had been doing for 18 years sadhana. She has a nice guru in Rishikesh. She had a fall. She had wrecked both her legs. She couldn't get up. She is living all alone. She is living just like a saint, even though she is an engineer. She never has a phone. She never has a boyfriend. She never talks to anybody. She doesn't own a car. She has been doing sadhana of sometimes 10 hours, 11 hours per day of meditation. And she used to write to me, I am no longer Caroline, I am zero, I am entity, I am a non-entity. But now she says, I can't become God at all, I am very much living in my body, the pain is so much, Swamiji, what shall I do? Yes. It is only then you will feel. Till that time it is very easy to say, after reading the books, well, I am also like Ramana, oh, there is no world. When you are caught, then you will know what the world is. See, these are all practical side, we have to get into it. So never get into the delusion of thinking that I have reached that stage. Never think of it. When you reach that stage, then it will get established, then there will be no longer you to say, I have reached that stage. There will be no you. The individual is lost, the only universal will remain. Who is there to say, I am now a zero? Nobody will be there. So, what to do then? Not only that, all right, I am not able to do all these things, that I am not the body, I am not the vital breath, I am not the bioforce. Then what shall I do? Somehow I am repeating, but then I don't get the conviction. What shall I do? Why? What is the reason? The reason is, you say, I am that self. Which I? Because when I was a child, I didn't know even to read the alphabet. I was in a different state of consciousness, a different level of consciousness. Do you mean that I? Or do you mean to say that only when I reach my 80th year, then only I am fit for knowing myself? Till that time there is no self. So in 80th year, with all my wisdom, with all my sagacity, then is that the only time that I will have myself, then I had no self earlier? So which state the self is? Is it the self of my infancy? Is it the self of my adolescence? Is it the self of my youth? Is it the self of my old age? Which self do you mean? Or take the same day. In the same day, I am having different levels of consciousness. In the morning, I am waking up and having different sorts of experiences, and I am reacting in a different way. Then while in the dream, I am in absolutely a different land, the Alice's Wonderland. So that is absolutely different, where practically I am not capable of even running the show. The show runs by itself. I do not know how it runs. So is it that consciousness? So which self? Is it the self which is the dream? Or is it the self which is the waking state? Or in sleep, where I am not even aware of my body? I am in the blissful sleep. And you know, each one of these states, they differ widely, they vary widely from the other states. Because you find there is something which is dominant in each state which just disappears in the other state. What looked real in one state, it became absolutely unreal in the other state. In the dream, you saw a tiger approaching you, you are running for your life, you are sweating, you are palpitating. It looked very real. At that time, if some Shantananda used to come and say, don't run, man, this tiger can never eat you. The Gita says that Atma cannot be eaten, Atma cannot be drunk, Atma cannot be harmed. He says you keep your Gita to yourself and you will run. So it looked very real. But the moment you got up, the moment you woke up, you found, oh Lord, it is a nightmare. It is not a dream. A bad dream, no doubt. But then it is not real. There is something unreal. I am safe and sound. I am nowhere near a forest. There is no question of a tiger pursuing me. So you suddenly found the entire dream which looked so real, so solid, so concrete, so truth-like, is no longer the truth. It is no longer real. Then which eye I should take? The eye of the dream or the eye of the waking state? So you find that the states are varying from time to time. You are in different states from morning to night, your states differ. And then from time to time the states differ. So how to find? So even now you find you are in a jumbled forest of trees, and where to find that self, the so-called self? I thought it is now easy, the entire world has been eliminated, the entire universe has been eliminated, but here is a big universe in itself. So how to find it? So he now gives a beautiful method to find that which is changeless, when everything is changing. That which is unvarying and constant, when everything is varying. That which is immutable, when everything is subject to changes. Find it out. Well, that is the self. So here, it is not 100% intellectual. No intellectual reasoning will take you. Now you are going deeper. It is a meditation. It is a meditation process where you are saying, yes, everything is changing. You cannot see a change unless there is some base over which the changes take place. You cannot see the cinema film unless you have the curtain over which the projector is projecting these images. You can't see it otherwise. So it is very essential to see that which is beyond all. Find out that which is the witness for all the three states. You are now going to get a method to recognize that self which is hiding itself, but it is remaining constant among all the things which are changing and which are varying. What is recognition? Recognition means to discover the identity of a thing which has been covered by various other forms. So to remove this form, this is no doubt almost like an extension of the previous one, but the previous one was all in intellectual technique. Here we are not going to have intellectual technique. You have to contemplate, you have to go on meditating what can be, what is that which is not varying, what is it which is constant. Yes, when I was a small boy with chubby cheeks, I was being called as X, and I was responding to the name. Then after 10 years, all those completely entire facial features have changed. All my cells have been replaced completely. The blood has changed. The composition of the bones have changed. The composition of the flesh has changed. When everything has changed, still people call me Mr. X. And I'm responding to that name. Similarly, when my age 19th year somebody comes, or you know that Mr. X who was coming to Mangalashram, I again respond, yes, I am that Mr. X. So what is that Mr. X? When everything has changed, then what is it that gives you the idea of I, that unchanging I? Find it out. It is only that I consciousness. That consciousness of I am exists, that existence, that being, that sense of being, which is that supreme and the pure consciousness. What do you mean by pure consciousness? It is a consciousness where the shadows of the world, nothing falls. It is pure. It is capable of knowing everything, but it knows nothing except its own being, that amness, that's all. Nothing beyond it. It doesn't say I am a man. It doesn't say I am a PhD. It doesn't say I am this or that. So, it has completely thrown away all the upadhis. What is upadhi? It is an external adjunct, a limiting adjunct. What is that? A quality which is not inherent in a product, but which has adhered to this through its association with an external factor. Example, I am keeping a beautiful transparent crystal, a crystal ball, which is so beautiful, absolutely pure, absolutely transparent, and behind it I have kept a beautiful red flower, the famous hibiscus flower, Japatism. I have kept it behind. So you are all seeing from there, oh, it's a beautiful red crystal. So the redness is not inside the crystal. It is not inherent in the crystal. But due to the association of the flower by its side, due to the external factor which is because of its nearness to it, the quality is just revealing itself in that, but it is not part of it. It is not inherent. It is not immanent in that crystal. It is somewhere outside, but it is limiting its original purity by coming and superimposing itself on it. So it is a limiting superimposition from outside. That is called the upadhi in the Vedanta usage. Upadhi means an external adjunct, which is not part of it, which is not immanent in it, which is not inherent in it, but because of its nearness, its qualities are externally superimposed on the other one. Should take off all those superimpositions. Take it off, then you will find that you are only that being, and you are aware of that being. So, what is being? Being is called as Sat. Sat means existence or being. You are only in the being. There is no becoming. You are only in the field. Whenever you say I, how do you know that I? That I is, I am. So naturally the word I includes its existence. And the cognizance of the I, the recognition of that I. So something which is coming into you saying I, that is the consciousness that you are. So that is called that awareness, that is what is called the consciousness, that is what is called the chit. So that ultimate self or I, it is impossible to describe it, but if at all you want to explain a little about it, you can only say it is existence such. And you know it exists. You know that I am. And that I am, as I said, it is an undeniable condition. When you have nothing else to do, then you are the unlimited. Then you happen to be that imperishable and that boundless bliss, that ultimate bliss, and that is Ananda. Ananda goes away the moment anything is superimposed on it. The moment you say, I am an embassy, and before you another chap with a PhD from Harvard University comes, you feel small before rain, your misery has already started. Your misery has already started because you added along with I am an embassy. So if you had left the embassy, there would be no problem at all. So anything, qualification you put along with it, that is going to cause misery at some time or other. That is why live with the pure awareness of am. Don't repeat it. Remind that all simply in that awareness. Don't think of anything else. And then that is the self. So that is being told here. Vyavritta jagradadishu anusyutam. It is not only the state of jagradadishu avasthasu. Jagradadishu means the various states like jagrat, that is the waking state. What are all the various states? The waking state, the sleeping state, the dreaming state, and also because the word is etc., etc., you can also extend it to other states. The state of infancy when you are a toddler, the state of youth when you are 25 years old, 24 years old, the state of a middle-aged man, 25, 30 years, the state of an old man, 90 years old, 95 years old. So these are all the various states. It could be the waking state, it could be the state of infancy, it could be any of these things, and each state is different from the other state. Even your experiences are different every day. What happens? Today evening, I have been called by a few of my friends to Hotel Ramakrishna. I go there, I enjoy. There are 20 people are close me, and I'm in a different state. And the next day evening I am coming in my orthodox clothes, sitting here and doing the lecture. But internally I know, the fellow who went and enjoyed himself in the Ramakrishna Hotel yesterday, I am the same who is now giving the lecture on Guru Stuti. So even though the experiences were different, the I is the same. So there is something unchanging. The experiences were different. Yesterday there was a lecture here by a famous Swamiji. So I was sitting and hearing it. And today I am myself lecturing. Then I know the one who was hearing yesterday, the same one, he is now talking. So the one who had the experience of hearing is now having the experience of talking. So there is one common fact. We call it, there is a, in the Vedanta, there is an orthodox example, we call it as Swayam Devadatta. One day I saw a gentleman over here. I said, my Lord, he is the Mr. Devdas. Who's the Devdas? 40 years back when he was in UK, in Bradford, in one of the restaurants, I had met him. We became very good friends. We were together. We used to go and have drinks together. And he was smoking a beautiful French mustache and all that. Today I find he's a bald man. He's sporting all Rudraksha mala and he's having the ochre robes and sitting there. So in spite of everything has changed about him, but still there was something about him which told me he's the same Mr. Devdas. I asked him, he says, yes and no, I recognize you. Oh Swamiji, you were then such and such. We had met. So that is recognition. In spite of all the things, you removed his baldness. You didn't bother about his baldness now. He was then, full of beautiful hair. You removed, you added his French mustache now. He doesn't have a French mustache now. You added it. So by these methods of completely ignoring all the parties, you reduce him to the irreducible minimum, which is his eye, then you know instinctively he is the same Mr. Devdas. That is called the pratyabhijna, that is called the recognition. So here he says, Vyavritta. Vyavritta means mutually different. Vyavritta means the dream state is absolutely different from the waking state. The waking state is absolutely different from the deep sleep state. And your infancy is absolutely different from the state of an old man. The state of an old man is absolutely different from the adolescent state. So each one of these stages of consciousness was far, far different, with perhaps very little of a common factor, so that each one is widely different from one to another, mutually different. Vyavritta. Vyavritta Jagradadishu. Jagradadishu. In all states, the various different states which mutually differ from each other, just like that of waking. That is, waking, dream, sleep. Then the stage where you had the experience of eating, the stage where you had the experience of talking. So the states of various experiences, a stage where you are weeping somewhere, the stage where you are laughing somewhere at some nice joke. So the various types of experiences, the various types of states, the various types of levels of consciousness. So in all these things, even though all these were all different and were changing, anusyutam, there was something which was a common factor, it was sewn in it. As I have told you earlier, the word suta comes from it is the same as the English word to sew. Sew means sewing the thread, sewing the cloth. To put the thread in it, that's called the sewing. That becomes suta. So anusyuta, it is sewn through all the stages. It comes through all the stages. It is inherent in all the three stages. It follows. Anusyutam, it follows in a very close-knit way in which you cannot separate it. So in an inseparable, closely knit way, that which comes through all the different states you can imagine, the different states of experiences, the different states like the dream, the sleep, the one who is there. During sleep, you are not aware of the body. During sleep, I could have been a case of having sufferings from the orthopedic fractures in my feet and all that, and I am suffering a lot of agony. I have been given a preferred injection, even then my agony is there. But the moment I began to sleep, I wasn't aware of any of those agonies at all. The entire state has changed. So whatever was true in the state has become untrue in this state. But in all these things there is one common factor, the I, the self, and that is the self. The common factor among all these changing states find out. How to find out? You have to meditate. There is no other way. You cannot now descend into the intellectual level. This is all over in the first two slokas. Now we have to dive deep, as he says. You have to go down deeper into your heart. Then automatically it is a self-revealing truth. It is the only truth. And when it is real, you have to realize it. There is no question. It will come up. Only thing is meditating. What is meditating? Leave aside everything else and you concentrate. You are now trying to recognize. How would you recognize? I am just seeing you. I feel I have seen elsewhere. Then what do? Leave up all thoughts. I go on thinking, where have I seen? So I am concentrating all the thoughts on that one point. And suddenly it strikes me, oh, I have seen her at Bradford. It suddenly comes. Then God. So, Vyavritta Jagradadishu Anusyutam, that reality which is inextricably woven, Anusyuta, I would call it as woven around. That which is inextricably woven in all the various states like a waking state, then Tebhyam Anyadiva Pushpebhya Iva Sutram. Now he is giving an example. The example is, he says, now people are making nice garments sitting here for 1 minute. What happens? There are a number of flowers. You take a small string and you are stringing them around, and finally once the garland is made, are you able to see the string anywhere? When it is put over the Lord, you don't see the string because it is densely populated with those flowers which are strung around, but then all these flowers are being held because of the substratum, this substratum being the string. So if you really want to see the string, you will have to take away all the flowers out, which are the upadhi. And the substratum is the string. So he says, Tebhyaha anyate iva. Tebhyaha anyate iva. Anyate means it is something different from all these states. It is different from the waking state. It is different from the eating state. It is different from the talking state. It is different from the infancy. It is different from the old age. So, Tebhyaha, from them, Anyadiva, as if it is something absolutely separate from all these states, nothing to do with them. Remove them all. Don't bother about them. Ignore them. Then you will find a common factor. Tebhyaha Anyadiva. How is it like? So he gives the analogy. Pushpebhyaha Sutram Iva. Sutra means the string. Pushpebhyaha from the various flowers. Just as you remove this nice string, which was invisible originally, from the entire garland by separating from the various flowers, just like that, you will have to remove it from all the states. Because the ultimate goal which we reach, it is not a state. A state is something of a becoming. There is no becoming at all. As far as the self is concerned, it always is. It is its nature. It is its natural form. So something which is natural form, you don't call it as a state. When you are acting in the various roles, you call it as acting. When he takes away all the costumes, when he comes and sits in his house, you don't say he is acting as the head of that family. That is original status. So he is there. That is what he is. So we come to what we are. Tebhyaha anyadiva pushpebhya sutram. You will have to remove it by the strong meditation and contemplation on all these aspects, just as you are trying to remove the string out of the entire garland of flowers. Then, how do you do it? Yati yati aupadhika traya prithakvena. You have to remove the three upadhis, the three external adjuncts which have been superimposed on the self, you just remove them and then you will find that only this is there. What are the three upadhis? Again we are subtly going into the same one because that's the strongest superimposition we have had, thinking that I am this body. Shantananda means this body with this clothes, with this what, with this type of hand, with this type of beard. This is how we think. 100 years you be with me, you will not be rid of that opinion. Even when one gets into a guru, the guru's form is completely, ingrained. We are unable to get out of it and go into the formless. There is that, unless by his own grace we get out of it. So, the Aupadhika Traya are the three bodies which are covering us, which take us to the three states. The three bodies are corresponding to the three states. What are the bodies? The first body is this gross body which you are having, which is called the Sthula Sharira. So this body is aware, this body is prominent and dominant in the waking state. In the waking state you are taking care of this body. When you get into the train, when you get into the running bus, you are very careful lest you may not slip and fall. Otherwise this body will be maimed. So you are so careful of it. So it is this body which plays the part at that time. So because of that you enter into all the miseries. So you are thinking this is the one, I am this. But then this body you are finding every day it changes. All the cells are changing. So it can't be. So you leave it aside. Just as when you try to recognize that old man whom we had seen some 40 years earlier in Bradford, by removing all his outside things, previously he was in pants and jeans. Today he has come in a dhoti. But then what you are doing, you are ignoring all these external adjuncts. You are just trying to see the inner, the unchanging thing, and then he strikes you, he is that particular person. Otherwise, even his voice has changed. The voice is now faltering. He is not having the same voice as he used to have previously. Previously he had a musical voice, and now it is a croaking voice. Then how then did you recognize it? You did, because there was some common factor which suddenly strikes you, and you are in the same frequency, and you are able to recognize it. The same thing happens as far as the final bliss is concerned. Iti yada Aupadhikatraya Prithaktvena, by separating the three external adjuncts. Aupadhika means the adjuncts which are external. Aupadhika is an adjective. Upadhi is a noun. Upadhi means the external adjunct. So that which relates to the external adjuncts, those qualities, they are called Aupadhika. So, the first one is the gross body. All right. Somehow I know, well, I am not this body. But then when you go into the dream state, you are seeing yourself there. You are rushing to catch a train which has already left the platform, and you are seeing it. Or you find a tiger pursuing you, and you are running for your life. Where from that figure has come? And you are seeing the light. Even though it is night, 12 o'clock, you are seeing it very clearly. The sun is shining, the light is there. So in whose light you are seeing them all? At that time, the brilliance of your ethereal body, which is inside you, which is called the Sushma Sharira, which is known as the subtle body, which is inside. The subtle body, the mind is very much there. And it is the mind which sees through the eye. It is the mind which smells through the nose. It is the mind which is able to taste through your tongue. It is the mind which hears through your ears. Supposing I come and stand before you, your eyes are wide open, but you are thinking of your home in somewhere else. Then what happens? For half an hour you never saw me. Suddenly you say, "Oh Swamiji, when did you come?" Well, half an hour back, where were you? So, it is the mind which is seeing through these. These are only offices. There is nothing called an eye. There is nothing called an ear. But all these things are the various chairs in the various offices where the mind comes and sits for doing the respective jobs. That's all. So, the mind is very much there playing, and it is the mind which is able to see during the dream, even though your eyes are closed, but still you are seeing in the dream. Your ears are closed, but you are hearing a nice melody, a nice tune in your dream. So all these things you are able to do because of your subtle body. There is the ethereal body. But then you should know that also changes. When once you come to the waking state, there is no ethereal body. When once you go into sleep, there is no business of any ethereal body. Even the mind disappears in the sleep. So, then, what is the last? The last, even though it is called the third body, it is not a body at all. We call it as Karana Deha, that is the body of causation. But it is not a body at all. What is it that causes your birth? It is your ignorance. Otherwise, where is birth? Look here, there is a bulb, 60-watt bulb. Suddenly one day, I say, this is not sufficient for me to read. I just remove it. I put a 200-watt bulb. Who got the rebirth? Now that is very grateful. It says, Swamiji, every day you are coming and doing lecture because you are satsang. Now I got a promotion. I am getting a birth of a 200 watt. Now I am better than the 60 watt. Who got the rebirth? The bulb is different. The electricity was perhaps the same. Even there you will find finally there was no one quantum of electricity which was sitting inside and saying, I am 60 watt, I am 60 watt, not at all. The entire thing is a running current. So the one which said that I am 60 watt, there is already flown somewhere else and a new current has come. And similarly, the one who said I am Shankarananda when he came some half an hour back here, he was also the moving current, which is a kinetic energy, which is flowing. So that Shantananda has disappeared. Now the one who is talking is a different Shantananda. After 5 minutes when I talk and go away to be a different Shantananda. But then who is it who says I am Shantananda? There is a gramophone plate called the mind. It is playing, I am Shantananda, I am Shantananda, I am Shantananda. So whoever comes, he plays the gramophone plate. But the one who was called Shantananda is perhaps no longer that. This is the theory of the Buddhists. It is very near to ours also at a higher stage. It is called the Kshanika Vijnana. Every second your knowledge changes. That's why it so happened. There was one layman, he was a business chap, he was daily coming to Buddha. For 25 years he was daily coming to Buddha and spending a lot of time with him, hearing to all his lectures and all that. One day he got irritated, terrifically annoyed. He goes and gives left and right and abuses Buddha. She says, you are highly partial. You are having so many fellows with shaved heads, and they are all in a very high state. They are able to sit in meditation for hours together. They are not even aware of the body. I have spent 22 years with you. You are not giving me even one grain of inexperience. I am just coming and going. I am unable to sit even in meditation. And you are partial to these monks. You have just ignored me. So he just abuses them left and right and goes away. The next day morning he comes back early in the morning, falls at his feet and begs pardon. Oh Bhakti, oh my Lord, I am so sorry. I was a fool. I deserve to be beaten. Please beat me with your tools. How could I abuse you? You are somebody who is beyond all. Then he asks for forgiveness. Buddha says, look here. The one who abused me is no longer here. Yesterday the one who abused is a different current. That electric current has gone. So now it is a different force which is in you. So you are not the chap who did that. And why should you then ask for forgiveness? Right. Secondly, the one whom you abused, she is no longer here. It is a different current as Buddha now. So, you never harmed me, you never abused me, then why are you seeking my forgiveness? So, neither that Buddha is here, nor that man is here. So, neither is the man who is offended, nor is the man who got offended. So, there is nothing to be forgiven, there is no forgiven at all, nothing happened to either of us. That's what happens. So, by separating all these three types of upadhis, that is, it is because of our ignorance, the basic ignorance that I am a 60 watt, I am a 0 watt, I am a 1000 watt, I am an engineer, I am a professor, and I am a clerk, I am a chaprasi. Well, why? This is due to our ignorance. One machine is saying I am the boring machine. The other machine is saying I am a lathe. The other machine is saying I am an extrusion machine. The fourth machine is saying I am a printing machine. But then, it is the one electricity which goes through all. So, the doctor also is being made to function by that one electricity. The life force. It is the same life force which has come into me and made me a monk. It is the same life force which is in that professor. So, the electricity is the same. It is the bulbs which differ. And that electricity which comes, it is neither the 0 watt nor the 200 watt. It has got infinite power. Its power has been limited by the limitations of the bulb. It has nothing to do with the electricity. There is only one wire, one electricity which flows into all. It flows into the 0 watt bulb, it flows into the 1000 watt bulb, it flows into the 200 watt bulb. Where is the difference? So it is the infinite force which has come into us all. It is the costumes which are different. That's all. So every one of us is being activated by that one consciousness. So this, the wise men are able to understand. Vidanti Surayaha. Surayaha means Surihi, means the wise man. Surayaha is the plural. All the wise men, they come to know this. They contemplate, they meditate on this, that amongst all the variable things, which is it that remains constant? And then they come to understand and recognize that self which is here. Finally, he is able to locate it. Vidanti Surayaha. And that reality which is found in this manner, by contemplation as to which is that constant thing, which is that sea, which is that constant among all the varied things, that reality or you, thus they are waking up the soul which is sleeping. So,